call Zeb up to tell us there is a court case against the county. Is that right? Okay. Okay. So Zeb's going to come up and tell us about his court case that's coming up next week. It's on the 8th, right? It's in 1 week from today at 1:30, and he could use our support. While he's doing that, I'm going to pass this basket around for anyone that wants to help pitch in for the room rental, okay? If you can't, don't worry about it. Just pass the basket. But if you can, that would be really appreciated.
How much is the room rental?
It's $50. Come on up. Okay. I am going to just, will you pass it around, and then I'm just going to go back.
That's why you have to.
All right. Zeb has the floor.
Yeah, the ulterior motive
Okay, Lori.
people will show up next Thursday at 1:30 in the commission meeting. And what it is a hearing. And essentially it is, has to do with the bid and assessment and estimate process that are in Georgia statute. It will end, it's like the best way to describe what it is, it's like what you get in small claims court. What I hope to get is an order for future compliance. What I do with that, the strategy with what I do with that, the real motive is to get the order, not for the order's sake. But anyhow, show up, and what I wanted to talk about was the First Amendment. I've tilted it at all the windmills, I think, on a little bit different level, and never accomplished anything. And I hear that here. A lot of folks are working really hard, and it's very difficult to actually, accomplish something meaningful. Cindy's back there nodding her head because we're active in the school board. So that's a lost cause at the moment. But anyhow, I'm a big Constitution person. There's a stack of Constitutions out there, okay? Take one to your neighbor if you have one. What's going on with us in the school board is we're having difficulty interacting with the school board. You can speak at Limor's meetings. When the process infringes on your ability to speak, but you can't eventually speak. Who here has spoken at a meeting in a convo station? Who here has talked at a school board meeting and had the school board even acknowledge that you spoke? They'll nod their head, oh yeah, okay, and that's the end of it, okay, end. Why is that? Well, I got interested in that, and that's what I want to really talk about. It won't take but a minute. This thing falls apart. I want to read the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or publishing the free exercise thereof. Okay, we know that, right? We're Americans, we have that right. The federal government is responsible for defending that right, okay? Or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the people peaceably to assemble. That's our freedom of speech, right? But there's more. What else? What else is there in the First Amendment? Who can remember what that is? The key. Yeah. And to petition the government for redress of grievances. Okay, that's the key to the First Amendment. Okay, what is redress?
Be able to speak.
It's action, isn't it?
Yeah, asking for them.
Do something, right?
Do something.
Yeah, Black's Law Dictionary says redress is expectation of some action. Okay. So we get the petition. Cindy and y'all are petitioning. And when you speak at the county meetings, that's a petition as well. I petition for this and that to happen. The history of that part of the First Amendment is pretty interesting. It was very active in colonial days, all the way in right before the North came south in the mid 1850s. So people were, slavery and anti-slavery was active in, and people were petitioning. It became a nuisance, so they didn't do it anymore. They didn't respond to petitions anymore. That's the history of the compromise of our Constitution. You saw it in Mar-a-Lago with the Fourth Amendment, and you see it every day in the news with the Second Amendment. Bits and pieces are being taken out, okay? So
What is your hearing about and when at the courthouse?
I'm hearing Thursday.
What is your hearing about that you're gonna be at the courthouse?
The
for?
hearing next week is a challenge to violation of the statutes concerning bids and estimates. You have to bid out a job or a project that's more than $100,000. You have to have estimates for a road job that's more than $20,000. Well, both those were violated when the Mountain View connector was built. That's what I'm using as an example, okay? So I'm not the sharp tack on that kind of stuff, but I'll blunder through the legal part. Maybe not so good in the art of the law. And the guy, you know, the Limemore's bottom feeder he's a real nuisance. But I think I can deal with him. I'm gonna try it. But anyhow, I'm working up a brief to challenge the school board on violation of this part of the First Amendment.
There's a federal statute passed in 1973, I can't find it, but I know it exists, that you can request any and all information from their education for the year, and if they don't respond in 30 days, you can sue them.
Cool.
Can I tell a story?
Tell it.
I filed a bunch of open records requests for Cindy early on, okay? One of the points I wanted from the school board was what they did with the COVID relief money. Their big bucks came in, okay? I want an itemized list of what you did with that money, okay?
Being brave with
You don't, first of all, you don't deal with the school board, okay? You can send letters to a constable, stand up there and talk to them, you don't deal with that. They immediately go to either Murphy, one of the multiple superintendents, or in the case of what we're doing, we're dealing with the lawyers in Gainesville. They don't mess around. So anyhow, put the open request in, they didn't answer it, sent them another request in, they sent it to the lawyers responded to me and blah, 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 obfuscation. So I sent it to the Attorney General, attorney who specializes in open meetings and open records requests. And with all the details. No response. So there is no recourse on that. There are very specific laws in the state of Georgia on open records requests. However, if Limemore doesn't want to honor them, you don't get the answer. School board, same way. So what I want to do, and it's a really long shot, is to challenge the school board in not honoring the First Amendment. Remember, law is practiced by precedent, okay? It's not practiced by the law of the Constitution. It's constitutional law, case law, precedent based on bad precedent. There is no precedent since the 1860s on petition for redress of grievances. I don't have any precedent to go to court with. But I'm going to challenge it anyhow, just to hear a judge make a judgment against the Constitution. I would like to have that on video of interest. But anyhow, back to the Superior Court next week. It's a win-win situation.
We need to know the day and the time.
my pen.
September 8th, 1:30, correct?
Yeah, and in the commissioners meeting.
Next
I don't know
Thursday.
how people are going to show up.
A week
But
from today.
regardless, okay, first of all, you've got a local jerk that's presenting, a citizen litigator, which is odd in Superior Court, okay? So you got that. So just for me to stand up there and try to look intelligent, you know, that's a good thing right there. If I lose on one of Mercer's nits, you know, a technicality, it's still a win, you know? And if I can get the judgment, the order, then that's a good thing, because there's other things that can be done with the order. And you know, I have a strategy for that. You know, as one more thought. I have another suit that's been on file. Okay. There are several projects in town, and one coming up, that have been funded by SPLOST. SPLOST is ripe for violations. Okay. What this is about is funding a project that is being operated by a private enterprise or on property that is not owned by the county. Okay, that's a SPLOST law. You can only spend SPLOST money on that. So I have picked one that was $134,000. Private volunteer organization on their own property. And Limor spent $134,000 on it. So this is pretty good. And you know, maybe we can win with that one. I don't know. But the thing of it is you gotta try, okay? You gotta keep going and you gotta resist, okay? The best example of resist is when we all went in with masks.
I got it.
And Limor says you gotta take your mask off, and we didn't.
It took me a minute.
No,
That's
he
a
said-
mandate.
He said we had to put a mask on.
Put a mask,
He
put a
said
mask
stand
on.
up so they can all look at us.
Yeah, but that was a mandate, see? Understand that rules, orders, mandates, resolutions are not law. You can't go to jail if you resist them. They can try. They can try to take you out of the room, and they did, until they were tuned up on, hey, you know, the deputies are gonna be sued if you keep it up. Because what you're doing is against the law.
Right. Say that again?
So you gotta learn to do that.
I
Okay?
have a question, actually. So I have recorded at the last commissioner meeting, after the meeting, we were talking with Mercer, the county attorney. And I was letting him know that it's not okay, it's actually against the Constitution to remove citizens from a public meeting for redressing their government. And he said that's not true. That they can do that basically at their will.
Yeah, I went through that with him. Diana was talking about titles. What she was talking about is OCGAs.
That's what I'm-
If you want to research that, go to Georgia OCGA 32 and 36 is what she was talking about. So I have researched that, and I've talked to Mercer about it. I sent letters to the sheriff warning him that what he was doing was, you know, would be a false
Qualified
arrest.
immunity.
So, no, you can't.
I
However,
also have the sheriff on film telling me that he didn't even hear what was said before removing me from the room. And I'm not the only one. It happens, it's a thing that happens at these
I
meetings.
walked out with one or the other of you.
Me.
Okay, and I asked the deputy on the way back, and I said, what law are you using to evict this person from the room? And he said, you're allowed to ask the law. He didn't have a clue.
But he doesn't work for the bar, he works for the sheriff, who's an elected official.
Yeah.
So the fact that the sheriff, who's an elected official, separate from the executive branch of our government, is taking direction and directing his deputies to remove people from a public meeting, an open meeting, we have laws about open meetings, without even hearing what was said to say that it was a disturbance. Me personally, I had asked about why was there an increase in deputies in the room, because at that particular meeting, it was lined with them, and I got removed.
So that would be the challenge. Did Alexis create a disturbance? And for those of you who were there, it was obvious it was just a discussion. You know, there was no disturbance there, but that's the element of that law. There is law, and that's the element of the law. Was the person causing disturbance? Yes, then it can be removed. We weren't.
Right.
See?
Yeah, because his response when I asked that question was, excuse me if I don't care what you have to say, you've only been here 2 to 3 months from Texas, and you called me a narcissist, and so excuse me if I don't care what you have to say. And I never called him a narcissist, and also I'd been here much longer, but I just bought my house 2 months before and updated my driver's license, so he had investigated me. And then when I said, no, I've been here longer, my family is from here, he said, or my great-grandpa was a commissioner, he said, your great-grandfather would be ashamed of you, just like your family is ashamed of you here now. And then I said, excuse me, and then I was removed. So I'm really curious as to how I was the disturbance in that. But it wasn't just that. That was an interaction, but in November, a gentleman was removed from the room for simply asking a question.
And he was a detective for our county.
Yes.
And he was
And a
removed from the
wonderful
room.
guy.
And he didn't do anything. So that is a concern. And so that brings us into freedom of speech violations. So we're gonna cover that really quick, and I wanna say, I wanted to try to wrap this up around 7:15, but it's going over, and I'm okay with that, because this is a lot of important information we're covering here. But just letting you all know, we're gonna keep going, okay? So freedom of speech violations, the reason why that is on here on the agenda is because there have been issues going on with the petitioners for the multi-commissioner board. And it's been happening again and again and again. And then because of that, and because of the long write-up in the newspaper about the petition for the multi-commissioner board, the commissioner put in a long write-up, but it was all misinformation. So I want to give Cindy a chance, because she's one of the petitioners, to explain what has been going on, and I would like it if you would start with at the courthouse during the primary, and then everything that's escalated since then, and then give you a chance to correct the record on what exactly the petition entails, because it is not 5 full-time commissioners, it's not 5 full-time salaries, none of that was actually real. And then also let us know if, how easy it actually might be to find that many people, because in the paper it was saying that nobody else can do that job. So, come on up.
That's enough.
I never have used that word.
What day and time are those commissioner meetings?
Okay, so, okay, let me cover this one. I'm so glad you asked.
Sorry.
This is the last thing that I wanna cover, is I'm gonna bring you up here to talk about that, but you guys, we have so many meetings. It's not the last thing. You know what, I'm not gonna play Vince's audio, because he was so good at explaining it that I think I can explain it to you. Okay, on the millage rate. Okay, so we have, if you wanna get out a pen and paper or get out your calendar, I'm about to tell you all the meetings for this month. There are a lot. Oh, I'm gonna be busy. Okay, so we have the town hall meeting is at 6 p.m. first Thursday every month. That's what we're doing right now, okay? On the 7th, we have a called meeting for the Board of Education, and they're gonna be discussing the millage rate, okay? So that's a called meeting, that's a special meeting.
What time?
It's at 7:30 a.m.
Board of what?
Board of Education.
Let's make sure
Talking
you're not
about
there.
At the Board of Education?
Well, the
Yes.
millage rate is, about
Yes.
sales tax that went to the school, so.
Well, that was in the paper today.
Yeah, 7:30 a.m. though, I wanna make sure everybody knows it's not PM, but I'm gonna have to be there, but don't judge what I look like. I'm just gonna be there with my camera, fine. Okay, so that is regarding the setting the millage rate. The very next day, on the 8th, the county has a called meeting to set the millage rate. That's
The county?
and that's at 5 p.m.
And that's also Zeb's court date.
And that's also Zeb's court date at the same location at 1:30.
Same location, which would be
At the courthouse.
at the courthouse.
Oh, the courthouse.
The Board of Education meeting happens right there. It's right, you can see it from right there, okay? At the Board of
By the
Education
cemetery.
building, right there. Yeah. And then the county meeting happens at the courthouse. Okay, so that was the 8th, the county meeting, setting the millage rate at 5 PM, same day as at 1:30, Zeb, same courthouse, for his court case. All right, then we get a few days off. Then November 13th, September 13th, there is a public hearing at the courthouse on the noise ordinance at 5:30. Now, a hearing is where they explain it to you and we get to ask questions. They actually let us talk about it at that. That means that it will not be set in stone at that point. Okay. The same day at 6 PM,
Oh, wait, just really quick, so that's at the courthouse?
that's at the courthouse
I'm sorry, 5?
at 5:30 PM. The same day, September 13th, the city council has their meeting and they're gonna be discussing the millage rate.
And you said that's the same day?
Same day, same time. The public hearing for the noise ordinance is at 5:30. The city council meeting is at, town hall, city hall?
City.
Yeah, city
Yeah.
hall, and that's at 6 PM, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to be at, so film them.
And that's about,
That is about the millage rate also. Yes,
That's their monthly meeting, the second Tuesday of every month.
Yeah.
okay,
yes, okay, so that's right. So the second Tuesday of every single month, the city council has their meeting, and that's the exact day that they're having this one, where they're gonna be talking about the millage rate, okay?
And they're bad too.
That's all for the, that's all for the called meetings, so now we have regular meetings. So these are ones that you can put into your calendar, that they'll come up at the same day every month, okay? So the Board of Elections at 3 PM on November 14th, the very
November?
next day.
No, September.
Why do I keep saying that? We just got to September and I'm trying to be over it.
September 14th.
Thank you, yes. So
Yeah.
September 14th, Board of Elections at 3 PM, second Wednesday of every month,
And
the next day.
Where is that at?
And then that is the one that's on Hunt Martin 60.
Oh, right.
76B.
76B back parking lot, Hunt Martin Street.
Way in the back.
Second Wednesday of every month. Then the very next day, September 15th, is the regularly scheduled commissioner meeting at 6 PM.
Oh, that's
That's the third Thursday of every month.
6 PM on the 15th,
Mhm.
which is what Thursday?
The third Thursday of every month. Then we get 2 days. November 17th
No,
is the GOP meeting.
September.
Right, am I doing that? Okay, so insight into my brain. If I program a name or a word, it will not change. So just
17th.
translate for me, okay? Yes, September 17th is the GOP meeting
At 10.
at 10 in the morning. That's the third Saturday of every month at the community center at the,
The view.
the View Cafe. Right, and so that's at 10 AM and they have an executive meeting at 8 AM. If you wanna go, you can sit in and listen.
I
but
highly
you can't-
recommend it.
Yeah, I like to go and sit in and listen, but you can't interact at that one. Super early to be doing that, but, okay. And then we have the regularly scheduled on September 20th, Board of Education meeting at 7 PM on September 20th. And so that's the third Tuesday of every month. We also have, other meetings like on, I think it's the 8th, Coosa Water Authority. So I sat in on one Coosa Water Authority meeting. It was awkward, it's a small room, table, I walk in and it's not, okay. Anyway, they were talking about water and pipes and things. But I learned just from going to that one meeting that both they and Notley want to get the fluoride out of our water. Yeah, I want that so bad. Like, that's what I dream about with Petition Week I was talking about. That's my petition.
Toxic waste. that's what
Hiawassee
it
did
is.
it. Hiawassee got the fluoride out of their water.
Seriously? Ooh, that's exciting.
I
Okay,
shut mine off.
I learned that just by going to one meeting. What was that?
I said I shut mine off.
Yeah,
You know
you're,
my business? I was on city water.
Oh,
My bill went from 20 to 80 bucks. I might use 100, 200 gallons a month. I said, this is ridiculous. They said, tough. And I said, hold meter, what are you gonna do for water? I bring it in 200, 300 gallons at a time.
Good for you.
I set a whole cistern set up in my shop and to run my toilet.
That is what I'm talking about, so, yes,
Believe me, if I can skin a cat, I will.
right, right, I'm with you on that, I learned all my
I
plants.
have
learned
always
that
been
right.
outside the box.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's all the meetings, I hope you got it locked in, there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah, right.
If anyone wants to volunteer to go into the city council meeting to at least audio record for me, so I can do the public hearing for the noise ordinance or vice versa, just get with me later, because I can't do both, but I want to. Yes, I go to all these things, that's how I made all these really smart friends, yeah. Oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so millage rate, this is what's important. We have 3 called meetings about millage rate. In the paper it said, and this is taught to me by our very smart mathematician friend who can't be here right now because he's at a meeting in Murphy, okay? But he explained it very clearly. So they're saying that they're dropping the millage rate by 15%, right? Isn't that the word? Okay. And wow, what a big deal, that's so great, oh, wonderful. Okay, well, basically, if your assessment goes up higher than that percentage, then, you see, it's like both, they go together.
Yeah, they double the taxes.
Yeah. So from his math, which I haven't checked, I trust his intelligence, but it doesn't even matter, From his math, what it looks like is that it's staying basically the same as it has been, okay? In general, it's staying about the same. And I think if they had just said that in the paper, people would be happy. It's not going up, yay, but they're saying it's going down 15%. So it's important that you understand how that works, because if the assessment value has gone up a certain percentage, then the millage rate going down a certain percentage, they kind of balance each other out. So it's not like we're saving a lot, okay? That's all I have on that. So be aware that we have those meetings coming up, and we discuss it from an informed place, because a lot of times we go to these meetings and we don't even know what questions to ask until it's over and done with, right? Okay, now I am done. Cindy, please come up and let us know, this is very important. I am all about, we the people run our government, right? And so.
Governments don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't care, because they said it, they swore oaths to us. So we either have to remind them, or we have to all stand up and just ignore them.
It seems pretty logical, pretty common sense, but they don't seem to listen to it.
Right,
They get
so,
elected and they do what they want.
do
The
you
only,
want,
our only ammunition is, when election time comes up, like last time Lamar got elected, who ran against him?
nobody. Who did the GOP put up against?
And that's why I'm
them?
sitting there. It's like, you wanna run your mouth online? How come nobody ran against him?
Right.
That's how you fix this.
Right.
You don't like the school board?
Not like it's death or nothing.
Find somebody that can get in there to do the job that you want.
Right. Do you wanna stay back there, or do you wanna come up? Okay.
There is no reason. There's excuses.
The Republicans are all Democrats.
You can primary him out.
It's all the same names. Nobody's changed.
Well, it's a small town.
That's right.
Right.
It's small, and you're not gonna change that. The only way to change that is with people coming in from outside, and then they're gonna make changes that we're not gonna like. So pick your poison.
But as a gentleman born and raised pretty affluent in this county said to me just the other day, this has always been a Democratic county.
That's not true.
But that.
The residents are like 75% conservative.
Isn't that weird?
But
The
but
thing
he
is,
calls
he's
himself,
blue dog. He's
Yeah.
an old school
he's an
Democrat.
old school conservative Democrat,
Last.
and I was too. But he didn't leave the Democrat Party.
Party
They
left
left
him.
him. So now, it's not Democrat, Republican anymore, it's conservative versus liberal. And if you still have those conservative values and ethics, I think that's what it's about. So you're absolutely right. It has been a Democratic, but not like,
Well, South has been that way for ever.
yeah,
I mean,
Since 18.
I've been around here
Since
for
18.
40 years.
So maybe you could get, so maybe we need to find a Republican, a new blue collar Republican
So I've been
to
looking
run
at
against him sometime.
I've been looking at this, so in order to run, you have to get the backing of a major party. And seeing the things
Right.
that I'm seeing in the GOP,
Well,
I feel like they have
Why?
plans of their own. So they probably would already know who they want to put in that place. So if you wanted to run as an independent, you could, or you could run as a write-in. And in order to do those, I think it says the independent, you have to get petitions signed. And we're seeing how hard it is to get petitions signed here. Not just for the fact that it's very difficult to get the word out on anything that isn't gonna be in the newspaper or on the radio by those voices that are all really good friends with each other.
right.
But then you get run down repeatedly over and over again by the government, okay? So it would be really nice if we had people running, if we could figure out how to get the people to sign petitions to get our own people on there. I've been thinking about this a lot.
Yeah.
The petition week, I'm telling you, I'm planting those seeds, but we could do a lot of good if we had 2 of those a year. We really could. But that is one reason why that was on my mind, is because I was reading about what does it take to run.
That's a good point.
Well, every time Lamar does something, he'll get, let's say he gets a contractor, well, that contractor will kick back to his reelection fund. And what a lot of people don't understand is, for the day he retires, now he can spend that money any way he wants. That's federal
Still
law.
having a lot of power.
He just,
So now let's switch gears, because we're at 7:30, we're usually out of here this is usually the end, but we have some important stuff left to cover. So will you tell me what your experience has been as a petitioner for this multi-commissioner board?
Okay, so I'll try to be quick. So for the primary election in May, we were at the courthouse because we figured people are coming to the courthouse, great place for signatures. So we were there. The first opposition that I met was one day we were out there and here comes out the sheriff with one of the women on, I'm not sure what office she was in, but she was in one of the offices there. And they come hustling out and they come to the car and she's like, you're not allowed to campaign on here, you're gonna have to leave, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not campaigning, but I didn't really know the laws too much. I wasn't expecting anybody to do that. So we were like, oh, she's like, yep, you're gonna have to leave. And so the sheriff was just standing there, eyes in the sky, like, oh my gosh, why am I standing here? I don't really care. And so she was like, you're gonna have to leave. And so we left. We said, okay, well, we'll leave. So we left, we found out later we did not have to. So the next day I was back there at 9 o'clock. So we were there every day for primary election getting signatures.
Remember?
Yes, that was the first thing.
No
The
solicitation.
second thing that happened was I was there another day, a woman was signing the petition. I look over and here's Lamar over there pounding his sign in the ground that said no soliciting, courthouse business only, election business only. So I looked at him, he looked at me, he was like, ah! So he ran off and I stayed there. About a half an hour later, here comes the sheriff. So now the sheriff pulls up and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, getting signatures for the petition. And he's like, well, do you really think this is gonna help your cause? They tried this in this county, this was on the ballot a year or 2 ago, and the people didn't want it. And I said, well, the county's changing a lot.
Lamar didn't want it.
Right, and we're getting a lot of signatures, so I'm gonna have to say yes. And so he's like, well, what you're not gonna do, you're not gonna block traffic, and so he changed the subject because he knew that we were allowed to be there, but he just wanted to spew some junk. So anyways, you can't block the traffic, da, da, da. I said, no problem, we'll have them pull in here and sign. Done. So he went ahead and left. So that was the May election. met with opposition. Since then, it seems like every time we try to go somewhere, we are being met with opposition. So we found out, we went on the square, we were allowed to be there, that turned out well. We go to the farmer's market every weekend, we're allowed to be there, but even at that, Lamar showed up one day and he comes over and he says, you guys, do you have a permit? And we're like, no, we don't have to have a permit. This is public property. No, you have to have a permit. I said, no, we don't. So he stood there for the next 10 to 15 minutes and gave me this big dissertation
Rent
about.
the booth.
We're not allowed.
No.
Not allowed. He said, you know, I don't understand why you guys have to be so mean, and you guys are so mean and disrespectful. Like, look at all the things I've done, vomiting out all his, I'm great. And I was just let him talk, and I'm like, look, this isn't even about you, okay? This is about, we want to have a voice, we want more representation, we're doing it. I mean, he can say what he wants, but we're doing it. So yes, we're not allowed to be at any festivals. The festivals said no, they don't do anything military, religious, or political. You cannot get a booth at either the farmer's market.
You've been to the Butternut on Sunday?
Or at Meeks Park. You can't do any of those venues, because I called her, she said, no, we don't do that. So you can't get a booth at the farmer's market, you can't get any kind of booth at any festivals around here. So we're kind of left doing just wherever we can get. We did go to Meeks Park, and what I would like to do is at the next festival, you did? So at the next festival, we can't get a booth, but if we sit outside of where all the people go in at just a picnic table, put the sign there, because we've done that before and gotten people.
So then what's going on with, speaking of signs, so now that that's been ironed out, that you've stood your ground and explained that no, we have the right to do this, and you haven't been scared off, what is going on with the signs that you purchased and put out downtown?
So they bought signs, and when we got the signs in, people went around and put the signs around town. So all of a sudden, it's like, where's all the signs? So a couple people went to the roads department, and there were all the signs. So we were like, what are you doing?
That's private property.
Like, why did you take up the signs? And the guy there was, from what I understand, I didn't go, somebody else did, but they told me that he was kind of flustered and just, they told us to. And she was like, who told you to? Well, of course, he's not gonna answer that.
Did he give you the signs back?
Yes, but we got the signs back and we put them out, and they took them up again.
You know, that's where
The
they
one
go.
was on private property, and they took the sign.
That's where they,
They can't,
The
Well,
signs
it
can
is.
go on public property. We've been putting them on public property, which we're allowed to do. Even the lawyer, Lamar's lawyer, Mercer, said we're allowed to.
Have you seen how many signs they put around that square? Half the time it looks like garbage with all the signs they have.
Well,
And
he
that's-
said-
that's the only sign they don't
well,
let
you know,
either.
there's people
Then they're
on
spray painting
those,
them.
I've noticed on certain Facebook pages, like even if
They
you put
started
like
spray
a Trump
painting them.
sign or anything, they will go, they go take them. And they go put them right where you found those other signs, and they
Oh, yeah.
say it, they're
Go
like,
to the roads
if you wanna
department.
find those,
I
yeah,
had that
that's where
problem,
my
I had that problem with a Trump sign. I
Yeah.
put a cow charger on it.
there you go.
It stopped them.
I have a fresh
Cindy,
question.
Yeah,
that's-
expensive.
Yeah, electric fence charger.
You know, what you're doing is not political.
That worked like a champ.
You're doing what
The only thing I wish I had was camera set up in the
Oh, wait,
floor.
hold on. We can't talk over each other, because then
I
the
wanna know,
audio
I
will be,
wanna know
it'll
one
just
of
be
these
nothing.
people that's telling you they
Nobody will
don't
hear.
want you. Hook me up with a person, I'd like to argue that with them. Okay, who precisely told you you couldn't?
That's First Amendment.
Well, when she said, when the first thing happened, she was like, you can't campaign here. I'm like, we're not campaigning, we're petitioning.
See, that's
But-
something Langley's pulling.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get through Langley because, oh, I don't know what you're trying to do is political. I said, no, it's crime. And I'm giving you evidence of the violation, not political.
So, okay,
we
so
are
Are they
also
still
with,
taking the signs away Yeah, I thought
Okay,
they were.
but didn't you get acknowledgement that, oh, wait, no, we were wrong, you can have those signs because it's an election year or something like that?
There's a sign
and you're still
ordinance.
picking them up?
Yeah, there's a sign ordinance, well, so when I talked to Mercer at the last meeting, I was like, you might wanna, you're telling me now, you're telling us, it's okay, you might wanna talk to the roads department, because, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, I will.
And now
They're
the
still
roads
new.
department, from my understanding, they're saying, what I overheard Mercer say, what I've overheard said a couple of times this has come up, is that they're saying it's because they need to mow.
Yeah.
That's what they always
So-
say.
Yeah, that was the
so,
second
hold
one.
on. So what happened with the petitioners who went and set up the signs next to them and were going to remove it as soon as they were done? You know what I'm talking about? Two gentlemen had the signs they put out, and the roads department tried to come take it, and they were like, well, just hand them back to us, and then they threatened to call the police.
Oh, yeah, so we were petitioning at one of the precincts, and the guys had put the signs out by the road, and then they went and sat back in their chairs or by their cars or whatever. Here comes the road department guy by, they get out, and they start to go pick up the signs, and they were like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, whoa, those are ours. You know, well, they did not want to give them back. They didn't want to give them back while they're standing there going, and so one of the guys got a little heated and the other guy said, let me handle it. So the other one went and sat back in his car, and he went up and said whatever he said to the guy and persuaded him to give me the signs, and he
Didn't
gave
the
him
road
the
department
signs.
threaten to call the police on them?
I think that
That's what
happened,
I-
but I'm not sure about that. But he did give them the signs back.
Yeah. So that is really
Not that
interesting, because I see signs a lot. I mean, I had a lost
They're
cat sign out for way longer than it should have been, honestly. But it was really hard to take that one down, because it was my kids, it was my son's cat.
So this will be
But
interesting
it's stayed out for a
because
year.
the GOP is getting ready to put all their signs out.
The GOP put their signs out
Not,
Wednesday.
yeah, not
I
there
can pick
though.
them up on Monday afternoon, because Tuesday's when they do the mowing.
Are you talking about out at the GOP office?
Yes?
Yeah, I'm
headquarters.
talking about the GOP is getting ready to purchase their signs for the election, and they're gonna be putting them all out. So this will be interesting, because if they put all their signs out around town, then they should be picking up their signs. And if they don't, I am going to put our signs right next to theirs. And if they end up at this roads department, I'm not sure what legal recourse we have, but I'm all for threatening it.
We
Take
have
pictures.
discrimination and harassment procedure.
Why are you saying the GOP
Nobody
though?
pointing.
Because the GOP at their meeting, they're getting ready to order their signs for
The election.
the election.
Right.
And they're gonna put all their signs out.
Not
just
that the
saying that's
GOP
what she
has
wants.
anything to do with it, she's saying to see if they let the GOP have signs.
Yeah.
Oh, not
Yeah,
that
that's
the GOP is
Like,
gonna
they're
pick
gonna-
their signs.
No, the
Okay.
roads department, like when the GOP puts their
Cause
signs
your
out.
signs and their signs
Well,
will probably go
they're
to the
selected.
same.
No,
Okay.
they'll
Oh, I
probably pick the
gotcha.
petition
I
sign.
gotcha.
Okay,
Department's
time.
going anywhere.
Okay, so
It's
now,
going anywhere.
would you like to, would you do me a favor before we leave of addressing some of the misinformation that was in the newspaper regarding your petition? Because what I read, it was saying that it was 5 full-time commissioners, 5 full-time salaries, 5 cars, or something about cars, that nobody else can handle this job.
Yeah.
So can you talk to those things so that we can just get the right information?
Yeah, so people are writing in all kinds of stuff. Lamar had 2 different weeks of his own Q&A where he just went through and gave us all the reasons why we should have a sole commissioner, because a board is just gonna be a disaster, it's not, whatever, like he's the only one. He made a statement in one of the things that he said where people don't realize how hard this job is and how many, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to classes once in a while, you gotta, making it sound like the people of the county are too stupid that he has to be the one to have the job. And so he just, there's a lot of things that are being said like that. It is 5 part-time commissioners. There will be no benefits. It's going to be a job, with a part-time commissioner, from my understanding, when we looked at what it was gonna encompass, maybe $1,000 to $1,200 a month per commissioner. And there's no benefits. So right now, we pay Lamar's office per open records request, we pay that office $500,000. That is only salaries. That does not include their cars, that does not include their benefits, that does not include their gas, that does not include their insurance or anything else that they get. $500,000 is strictly Lamar, Larry Garrett, who's the county manager, and the women that sit in that office. $500,000.
But it does include our tax rate.
Yeah.
Lots of
Oh,
Pay
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So having said that, the part-time commissioners, the way I view it is that type of job being set up as a part-time commissioner, it is not a job where you're gonna live off it.
Right.
It should be a job to serve the people, right? We the people. You get that job because you wanna serve your county, not because you wanna make a living or profit off it.
Right.
This is my take.
But then they would appoint a county manager.
Yes, there
That
will be a
would
county
be
manager.
full-time, handling all the things.
The business of the county.
And then isn't it that the reason why you don't know the actual pay for a part-time commissioner is because it actually has to go through a legislative process, but then the petitioners get to put in the framework of how they, of
I
what they
think the
want.
rules get set, or the parameters will get set at that time, from my understanding. But the thing is, this is a referendum, okay? Everybody's
Oh,
like
yeah.
hair on fire. This is a referendum. If we get the signatures and we have enough signatures, it goes on the ballot for a vote. So it goes on the ballot. If you don't want it, don't vote for it. I mean, I had a woman today come up. We were at a location and she pulls over and she just wants to know, I just have questions why you think you have to do this, blah, blah, blah. So she goes on to tell me how, there again, my family's been here since 18 whatever, and that's great. So in other words, because her argument was basically, we've been in this county all these years, our family's generational, we think having a sole commissioner is fine, you guys wanna bring it aboard, there's gonna be nothing but arguing, nothing's gonna get done, yada yada. This is kind of like the sentiment that I hear over and over.
And
But-
to be devil's advocate, we don't wanna end up like Cherokee, North Carolina though.
Well,
They got a pissing contest going on over there.
Well, here's my comment to something like that. This is why we need to vet the people that are gonna run and try to flush out people that are gonna run for the wrong
Who's
reasons.
the president?
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that's also why the town hall per district is necessary, because
Yes.
like I keep saying, we can't have an opinion on how these people are doing if we're not
Retired.
showing up.
Lamar?
He makes too much.
Well, he
No,
says
exactly.
he's not gonna run again, but I
I
don't
think,
buy
but
it
he's
for
on
a
up till
second.
24, isn't he?
Right,
Right,
but I
presidential.
don't buy it. You don't? No.
I don't think he would be doing
All you
some
wanna
of
do
the
is,
antics that have been going on the past 2 years. I don't think he would be doing it if he was planning on running again.
all the petition does, like she said though, is
Yeah.
to get enough signatures
I
to
mean,
put
I've
it on the
never had any
ballot.
problems with him
Let
in
the
17
people
years.
decide and
Yeah.
vote. You should at
I mean,
least
that's
be able to put
fair.
it
Past
on
couple
the
years
ballot.
it's been,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
All right,
So,
so okay, here's my goal. To call it before we've been at this for 2 hours, okay? So we got 10 minutes before that happens, so
wait a
I
minute, it's only
think,
6 o'clock.
what happened?
It never moved.
I'm so confused. Okay, don't do that. I'm trying to stay focused here. Zeb, what would you like to say?
Keep in mind that, I'm talking about the modern mafia. There's a very close clique of people that run this county.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they have millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Lamar's a multi-millionaire, so bear that in mind. The other thing is, you know, I'm kind of focused on this judicial baloney.
I'm just a frog trying to swim in the pond, that's all I'm doing.
Yeah,
I
right.
know.
Pain in the neck, but I'm not gonna, one of the reasons I'm doing that is to do as much damage to Lamar as I can. Maybe he would not be voted in next time he runs. Or maybe drive him to drink to the point he destroys his liver, I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, who knows? But maybe encourage him not to run again.
Well, you don't think that he's got somebody to take it over?
They probably
I mean,
already
that's
got
a
the
pretty
next
good
person.
position.
There probably is,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
I
probably
can't
way
identify
forward.
who it is.
No, well, you know, maybe you probably and most people were not gonna know.
No.
But I
Oh,
can
yeah.
guarantee you.
He's
I've
already-
heard
It's
rumors
usually
that
step
he's
up.
grooming people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be Larry for sure,
No.
but I'm sure that they have a 5-person, board
Like,
all
where's the
assembled
mayor?
now, ready to
So-
go.
What's it? Yeah.
So then,
Where's the
so
one?
then,
Where's the mayor?
but here's the thing is,
you ever-
we're-
This is the South,
Do
that's
you
the
ever see
commissioner.
the mayor? I know, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
he's
Do you
on-
ever see the mayor?
Took me-
Yeah, if you
took me
go
a couple
to,
years
if
to
you
figure out how,
go to
what?
the meeting, you will, but he's very
Does he
weak.
do it?
We had a
So-
committee and they elected their own mayor.
we are talking about this right now as if the government here has all of this power, and we're forgetting that we have all of this power.
I know.
But the reason why we don't see it is because we're not all coming together. So if we do that, and when you shine the light on what the truth is, everyone can see it and the spell is broken. And then when you talk about it, it
Well-
becomes natural for people to talk about it.
Shining the light and casting poison are two different things.
Yeah.
Right. I work with shining the light. The truth is
This-
so
that-
powerful.
That's one thing, but when people keep poisoning the well, and everybody's ears closed and they just go, there, nothing to see here.
That's true.
So tell friends, bring them to the meeting, watch the videos, tell people about the channel, because every meeting is on there. I mean, and all of my smart friends I talk to, and then I get on there and I blast it out in a news show, okay? And so that's a way for people to start waking up to things, but just getting people coming together. That's what we need to do, because then we can, who cares if people are being groomed? No, who cares? Because we're doing this, and this is our county, yeah? That's, all right, that's positive notes there, we'll end it there. But, all right, you guys are troopers. I mean, that was a lot of information, but every
Yeah.
single bit of it was